It is 7 o'clock, and we will go ahead and call to order the City of North Kansas City, Missouri Equity and Inclusion Committee meeting on Thursday, January 13th, 2022 at 7 p.m. We will go ahead and call attendance for the voting members. So I think we'll start with Ward 1, and Ashley, if you can, or I'll call the names, sorry. Ashley Phillips.
Here.
Zetta Hammersley.
Here.
Gabby Flores.
Present.
Daniel Trotter is here. Martin Newton. Here. April Jones.
Here.
Bess Bailey. And sorry, why am I blanking on your names? Has it been this long? I'm so sorry. Gosh.
Yvonne Salinas.
Sorry, Yvonne. Yes, Yvonne Salinas. All right. And I think that is everyone that we have on the committee. All right. So our next order on the agenda is that we just want to welcome our new members. We've had a chance to meet them and introduce ourselves. But if you all want to just say a couple things just about why you're on the committee and which ward you represent, I think that would be helpful just for the meeting. Thanks.
I'll go first. I am a licensed clinical social worker, and so this committee just kind of represents some things that I'm already doing in some other formats in the city, and so I'm just happy to be a part, and I'm in Ward 1.
Hi, I currently work for Arts KC, which is the Regional Arts Council, and in my capacity there, I facilitate a lot of DEI training, both for our board and our staff. So I wanted to bring that experience here and apply it to my community, and I'm also Ward 1.
I'm Martin Newton, originally from Eastern North Carolina.
Let me give some context. I keep asking for the microphones because those who are watching from home can't hear you if the microphone's not on. So that's why I'm a little bit on the microphones.
I got you. I'm Martin Newton, originally from Eastern North Carolina. Live in Northgate Village around here, and I'm ready to get included. I'm ready to get started.
That is everyone, I believe. We do have a new liaison from our city council. If Anna wants to say a few things.
Hi guys, I'm Anna. I am a Ward 4 councilwoman, and I'm also a clinical pharmacist at the hospital, for those of you that have not heard that yet. And I'm excited to take over for Lisa Toll. I think she's going to be coming to the meetings for the next few at least, just to kind of be a veteran presence here. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to come tonight. But if you guys have anything you need from me, please feel free to ask.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you, new members of the committee. It's really great to have you here. It's good to fill up the seats for our meetings as well. And now that we've welcomed the new members, we'd like to see if there are any comments from the public. If possible, we would ask you to limit your comments to 5 minutes. But if anyone would like to say anything, please go ahead. All right. If there are no comments, we will move ahead to item 5 on the agenda, the old business. Is there anything that anyone would like to comment on from the committee in regards to old business or things that they've been working on in the last couple months? Gabby?
Sorry, I'm struggling to find the correct glasses. I got my readers, I got every other glasses. One bit of old business is related to the presentation to the North Kansas City Business Council. So, meeting, let's see, we did not meet in December, we met in November. We reached out to the North Kansas City, or I can't remember, maybe it was Tony Saper's idea. Somehow we got connected to the North Kansas City Business Council regarding our NKC United campaign and have gotten on their agenda for their executive committee. It was to be had earlier today. It got canceled and postponed due to, the world being on fire. And now it will be Tuesday, the 18th at 3:30 via Zoom. So we have the beginning of a presentation started. Bess had asked kind of via email, she's willing to do it, but wanted a partner to work with. My schedule changed since then, and I am able to help support Bess. So if you guys are okay with that, I can work with Bess and we can present and then report back. Or if you have other ideas, we welcome them. And just for those that don't know, and I don't really know much, the NKC Business Council functions kind of like a chamber for the North Kansas City. So we're really trying to not only educate them about kind of our committee and what we're about, but also the NKC United campaign, which you'll hear more about a little later in the agenda, but really about engaging employers and businesses in North Kansas City to be more inclusive space and to kind of sign a pledge and, kind of make some commitments. And so we want to just introduce this concept to them and possibly get on their agenda for, I think they have luncheons, which would be more of a broader audience. This audience on Tuesday is really only their executive team and their executive director. So it's probably 5 or 8 people. I don't know, I'm just guessing. So ideally, we would like to get in front of the NKC Business Council during one of their luncheons and invite those businesses to join us in the commitment and the pledge and get your business involved. So that's kind of the intent of it. So what do you guys think? Do you guys want to, it's a 10-minute presentation, so it's not a huge deal. But we kind of need to follow through on this commitment with them because they offered us in December, we weren't ready yet. And so this was kind of a postponement of that. So if you guys are okay with it, I can work with Bess and we'll come up with a presentation. It's just not a lot of time for us to bring it to you for review before we could probably pull it up if we have time. I don't know, it would be not on the agenda. We'll just park that, put a pin in it, and but if you guys are okay with that, I'll touch base with Bess and she and I can deliver it.
Yeah, I think that totally works. And like you said, since it's on since they were maybe expecting us in December, it's a good idea to get that done. It's also something we've talked about for a long time, just the project in general. So to have their feedback would be instrumental, I think, and if they're on board, that'd be awesome.
If we can't put it in this agenda, could that be something that you share at the next meeting? It just sounds like this is going to be a really great partnership, and so to kind of have the longevity of that. So I'd be interested, even though it doesn't have to be this meeting, but.
Yeah, for sure. We can make sure that it's on the February agenda to report back. Any feedback, any objections, any ideas, brainstorms, and then also to see if there's interest in us coming to share out to the larger group. I think somebody has influence with that group, I'm not sure. So there's, a couple of members, I think, that are with us today that can help prime that a little bit so that we can get before that group. So we'll report back in February.
Is there any other old business we'd like to discuss? Yvonne, is there anything on the marketing materials, or are we still thinking about that? Oh, yeah, and the brand. I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay. Moving away from old business, we'll move to amend some bylaws. I think last time we were here, we wanted to make official the meeting date. Thanks for bringing that up, because I couldn't remember exactly what the bylaws said about our meeting. So there's the strike through. Does anyone move to make official that our meetings will be in our bylaws as the second Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. instead of the first Thursday of the month at 7 p.m.?
I can motion to approve.
I'm just curious on why was it moved? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I believe there was a conflict originally. Maybe Kim knows better than I do exactly why.
Yes, there is a conflict. So the first Thursday of the month is actually the Planning Commission. So they meet exactly where you're sitting now, and the same cameras broadcast that particular meeting. So one of the desires for this body was to be broadcast. So again, we only have one room that we have that ability to, so it was moved from the first Thursday to the second Thursday. That way, we were able to broadcast the meetings.
I think just an important note, the first 6 months of our meetings were all via Zoom. So we didn't really realize the conflict until we got back into in-person meetings.
All right. So do we need a second on that? Does anyone second the motion to move that
I'll second it.
to the second Thursday? All right. We'll go ahead and call a roll. I'll start in Ward 1 with Ashley.
Yes.
Zeta,
Yes.
Gabby Flores.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
April.
Yes.
And Yvonne. Yes. I believe to make it official, the motion carries, so we will update that in our bylaws to the second Thursday of the month. The next item on amending the bylaws is reviewing the appointment of our city council member liaison. And if we can pull that up, I believe we'll update that from Lisa Toll.
So actually, that is a legacy item on this particular
Oh,
agenda. And again, remember, this was the agenda that this governing body was going to look at last Friday. So that was kind of an outstanding question, and actually at the last city council meeting, there is a formal process that the governing body has to go through, the city council has to go through to vote amongst themselves and then vote on that appointment, and that is how we got here today. So you guys are done with the amend the bylaws part. Good job.
Thank you very much, Kim. Next item is providing feedback for the DEI training. If we want to start with any of the team members who have obviously been on board, or if, remind me your name, I'm so sorry. Tonight's not a
I'm
good night for
Casey,
me.
the HR manager. Let me
Thank
give you a
you.
little bit of background on that too. So we do annual harassment training for our employees every year. We haven't added the component on for the DEI training. So we budgeted for this year. So we put it, when I knew the committee was going to be formed, I thought this would be a great idea to partner with you all, get your feedback on how to move forward and if we pick a new vendor. I'm not tied to any particular vendor, open for opportunities to improve what we currently have for harassment training. So I put packets together, and I'll give a packet to the new members after the meeting. Take time to review it, look through them. There's links in there that you can go to for the, there's probably about 7 or 8 different options that are in there. The costs are included, those types of things. It'll give you a little bit of time to review it, and then next meeting you can provide me some input. If there's people that have already done it, they're welcome to provide input. But that's the goal and that's the intention. Hopefully we have something finalized in February. We'll get that rolled out. The intention is to, of course, all city employees are required to take it. We'll roll it out to all the board members across the city, all members of every boards and commissions. We can't require them to do it, but we will offer the training to them. And then, of course, you all, I'm sure, will be thrilled to go through it and take it. So that's where we got, and that's where we're at.
So you're not looking for action on this today? Okay, so, yeah. Yeah.
Not tonight, unless you guys have reviewed it and want to offer stuff, but we got 3 new members. Let's let them have time to review it and
Absolutely.
give some feedback.
Yeah, appreciate that. And did they got binders? I don't know. Did they? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Because I, of course, left mine at home. I had some notes and, so next month is perfect.
All right, so item 8, we move to our strategic plan next steps. And just a comment on that, we did make quite a bit of headway in terms of consolidating the strategic plan the last time we met. It was an effort really to take kind of a brainstorm of ideas that we've had in the last several months and get those into a more manageable document and a list that combines a lot of those ideas under the same categories. Does anyone have, we'll bring that up here. Does anyone have any feedback right now about that? Have they been thinking about it? Anyone have a history of, working in strategic planning, especially in equity and inclusion on our team? Any of our new team members?
Would you like me to go into the RFQ? These 2 items are kind of, I find, tethered together. So I do have up, it was part of the agenda packet for the last meeting, kind of where that body, one of the previous meetings in November was a workshop where this committee went through and kind of tried to reorganize some thoughts from the previous version. I would say, as you can see on your screen, this is the 5th version of this particular document. It has kind of grown and just like any good document, it moves and grooves as you think on it and mull on it, and then the ideas become more refined and you have a better understanding of what the intent and then clarification of the actual verbiage with that. So this is version 5. This was the particular document that when we did the RFQ, went out with that document. That way, anybody who is looking to maybe become a partner with us for this particular process would have an understanding of where you guys kind of are already. And really what the hope with that is that whenever we go through the selection process, there's less time spent by that particular vendor because you guys have already telegraphed this is kind of where we are. So that way they can meet you where you are and help us move forward. So kind of I'm going to pivot on over to here. We did reissue the RFQ. Again, we didn't have any responders the first time. We were kind of guessing at the budget. Apparently we guessed wrong. So we did, as you can see, one of the line items, the budget was increased to $7,500. I have had multiple inquiries. They are supposed to get with me by tomorrow if they have any questions. And then what I will do is I will issue what's called an addendum, which means that's an official document where I answer all of their questions. And I have received some questions. I won't talk about it in open session because I like being able to tell everybody all the answers at once. That makes sure that we are maintaining a fair and transparent process. But I have had several of them let me know that they intend to put together a packet for your consideration. Those are due at the January 28th, so I'm hoping to have those for your review at the February meeting. Some of the things, I'm planting seeds here with this body. When you guys start going through those packets, how will you guys form a subcommittee, or would you like to do those interviews as a group? I'm just walking you through some of your future considerations. So I would like you guys to maybe perhaps have some dialogue. It's kind of why this was on the agenda. So you guys, interviewing a panel as a group, as you guys know, would require noticing. So there's some considerations there and timing, specifically if you guys are wanting to do this work session by June. So I'm gonna stop talking so you guys can start.
How do you handle this for other RFQs? So to be consistent with city practice.
So we form a small team. It's easier to schedule 2 or 3 people to go through that process. So I like to schedule my interviews all back to back to back. That way I don't have time in between, just like when you interview regular humans for a job. Sometimes when you span them out through a week, your week starts to influence that. So when possible, I like to, if I pick 2 or 3 agencies that I'd like to interview, I like to do them back to back to back. That way it's really as much apple to apple comparison in my mind. That is where my head is. The day hasn't eroded my thoughts. I do a scoring sheet, and then we do some dialogue, and then move forward off of that scoring sheet with who I feel is the best partner to move forward with. Once you identify somebody, then we start negotiating that scope of work.
So
I-
if we, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. I have a little bit of experience with strategic planning, and I kind of read over this, and it's very exciting stuff. I'm excited for tangible tasks with outcomes, and I think that that is something that I am passionate about. I love data. I like numbers, and that can be weird, but that's what it is. And so I think I would love to be a part of that conversation. I do think that there's going to be benefit in the new members and the members who have been on here for a while to all be able to, you guys are going to know what you guys have already worked towards. And so I just suggest that we think about doing this as a team as much as possible, even though that can kind of create that sticky scheduling piece of that. But that is my thought for proceeding with this.
If we do have, break it down into a subcommittee, or if we have everybody but only certain numbers are able to attend, is that affected at all by like the rules of, like the voting rules and all that? Like, do we have to have a quorum for that?
It's all about the numbers.
Yeah.
So again, it could be that, and I wanted to kind of plant the seed for you guys to understand. It could be that you guys review them and then pull together, these are the top 3, and they're the clear top 3. And then there could be some dialogue of who is doing the interviews then. Because again, if it's a forum, it's this group plus their group times 3, trying to find that calendar. And just, I'm recognizing that this body meets at nights. That might be a bit of a challenge for the team that you're trying to interview. So there's some logistical considerations that I kind of would like you guys to just be aware of and begin maybe brainstorming how we overcome those.
Would we be able to schedule a work session that would be this review space where we could, together take a look at the proposals, talk through rubrics, think about skills we're looking for, come up with a plan of action, and then I'm just guessing that not every member needs to participate in the interview, but as long as everybody's aware, I trust Daniel and Ashley to do the interview and trust you're out. If we come up with the right tools, they would make a recommendation to hire or not hire and then prioritize. Okay, so we could come up with a hybrid approach. It didn't have to be all or nothing. Okay.
One thing that we've kind of learned on city council side is just putting together a list of questions that everybody would have. If not everybody is present during interviews, can make it seem that, you know, everybody's included, or maybe Ashley comes up with something that Yvonne didn't come up with, or vice versa, just so that everybody can kind of, you know, get their input into what they might be looking for in terms of a candidate, because it sounds like everybody has a different background up here, so I think it would be nice to see the questions come from different perspectives.
Like what kind of skill sets and prerequisites that we're looking for before we get to it? That's a good idea.
I was just gonna, it sounds like the best of both worlds. So I guess the next step, like the actionable step in this, would be that you would get together the list of people who have submitted their proposals. You would send it out via email. We would look over it, and then next meeting, then decide how that smaller subset will look.
In preparation for that next meeting, when we would be determining a review process, would it be appropriate to come with a evaluation, like, form that I've made based on our strategic plan? Would that be the place to introduce that if that was something I took upon myself?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. You're more than welcome to kind of work independently and have something that you can provide. That's something, that's one of the reasons why I bring this laptop. Actually, most committees don't have something. I'm more than happy to kind of make the sausage live, as it were. If individual members wanted to email me directly, hey, here's my rubric, these are my questions, I can, as a staff person, kind of try to assemble that. I love crib notes, so if you have any notes, put in there. I would love, you know, ask this question first, this one second. I'm more than happy to kind of put that document together. We can throw it up on the screen, and then we can start kind of cutting and pasting and moving things together.
Got it. Thanks.
I just wanted to piece together kind of what we just talked about. So timeline-wise, we'd be looking at next meeting being our more substantive review of the potential candidates for who's going to help us with our strategic plan. And at this time, we'll more or less take it upon ourselves to put together items that we want to put in as requirements and things we want to ask. Does that sound good to everybody? Or do we want to have a work session? Or
I would just, in addition, add that for new folks or those of us that maybe haven't read it yet, to read through the RFQ top to bottom to kind of get a better framing of what we're asking for, and then also help us do marketing to community educators, strategists, and help get the word out so we can have a really good pool of folks submitting applications. And then to Daniel's point, is it, so on our February meeting, regular meeting, we would potentially have a list of those folks, and then we would schedule a subsequent work session? Okay.
Yes, so specifically, I would look to you to bring your calendars to the next meeting so that we can kind of get together. So once I'm directed as to, hey, Kim, you know, these are the people that we like. When I contact those particular teams, I'm going to contact them with here is the date and time of your interview. Just like when you're applying for and interviewing for a job, you might have 1 or 2 time slots, but generally they're the ones who are dictating to you, the interviewee, when that particular meeting is. We've all interviewed for jobs before, so that is kind of how that is. But I like to have okay, if it's this time, it's this date. Calendaring, I'm guaranteeing y'all, is the hardest part of this.
all right, great stuff. Do we want to talk about the strategic plan at all, or are we good with leaving it at the discussion we just had, just in terms of the review process for our potential RFQ, or for the folks who are responding to the RFQ? Sure. Yeah. So the packets that you'll get, those are for a different, I just want to make sure we're talking about the same thing. So the RFQ that we were discussing is going to be for our strategic plan for the committee to help us kind of hone in on what that's going to look like as we move forward. And then the other packets we're reviewing are for the diversity training for the city government, essentially. So we'll be just providing feedback on that. But yeah, lots of RFQs, lots of packets, lots of things. And it's your first day of school. So, and we're all coming back from Christmas or holiday break, I guess you could say. But all right, so let's see here. The next item on here will be EIC board appointment discussion. Is that something that's carried over, or are we?
That's a bit of a carryover, but that is actually something, Gabby, you and I didn't touch during kind of the pre-training. One of the things that this particular board was tasked with is recruitment for other boards and commissions within the city.
Did you want me to say anything more about? Okay.
So, well, currently, the city has vacancies from time to time on lots of other boards and commissions. Actually, the city requires us, we need 69 people to serve on the city's boards and commissions.
Oh, wow.
We have a lot of opportunities for public input throughout all of the various boards and commissions. Some of that is the mayor, and really the mayor, this is one of his passion points, is just to make sure that we are getting a diversity of candidates for him to consider for those particular openings. So currently, right now, there is a vacancy on the Parks and Recreation Board, but those opportunities for new members are perennial, meaning some people move. This board has experienced that as well, or just for personal reasons are no longer to serve. So some of the things that this particular one, and I think it is kind of a perennial topic on the agenda, is just to talk about the current openings that are in boards and commissions and allow for sometimes staff, and maybe if you didn't see it on the city's social media channels or in the Week in Review, that, hey, we happen to have a vacancy on XYZ board. So the one that's open right now is for Parks and Recreation.
I would add several. I think there's still one on this committee.
Yeah.
For Ward 4, Industrial Development Authority, if Kim wants to really put you to sleep on explaining that one, and then TIF Commission as well. Some of those I will be filling shortly, but those are all the current vacancies. But no, yeah, I encourage everyone to share those posts and always share that information with the people you know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Kim. Next item on here is the co-chair item. So will that be a co-chair just from our committee that we want to nominate?
So new year, new seats. So it doesn't have to be something at this particular one. We do have several new members. I bet you might want to actually read the bylaws that we just amended before you go leaping into one. But at your February meeting, if that was something that this body would entertain, is who will fill some of the seats. The co-chair is, just in case the chair is not able to attend. It kind of is the de facto next person to do what Daniel's doing right now, which is reading aloud the agenda.
And just to say out loud that we had a co-chair needing to step down for health reasons. So it was a vacancy that we were discussing in November, trying to make sure that our chair and co-chair had each other to support. So we've been trying to kind of get this conversation back in front. For clarification, I just wanted to double check. Is Bess's term so Bess is one of the two co-chairs, the other one's vacant. Does Bess carry on for the next year as co-chair, or are we looking for two co-chairs?
I
That
like
was
to
in the
have
bylaws.
two, personally, but I would need to actually read the bylaws myself.
And we would also have, because Jess was our secretary, so that's.
Correct. There's some officers that need to be elected. Again, what I would do is specifically, not only for our new ones, but everybody to kind of brush up on exactly what those positions are. Typically speaking, how those are done is somebody is nominated for consideration. So the chair would call out, is there a recommendation or a nomination for fill in the blank, whether that be the chair, co-chair, secretary, whatever the officers for the particular board or commission may be. People list out names, and then the committee goes through a voting process for that specific item. So I just kind of put that on here for you guys to kind of mull over and think about over the next month or so. February is shaping up to be an action-packed meeting, but just kind of keep that in mind, read through the bylaws. If that's a particular thing that you would like to serve in this committee, you're interested in filling that role, you can self-nominate. So that could be something that is done at the next meeting.
I will just add on the terms, it does look like it ends. All officers are elected to serve a term that ends on the last day of that calendar year. So then the election process is at the first meeting of a new calendar year, the IC will elect officers. So there's the.
Thanks for that. Because I couldn't remember where we landed with that. I have a follow-up question. Given that Jess isn't with us in this new cycle, what about minutes from past meetings? Because I know that we didn't approve some minutes, we didn't get some minutes. Are they lost forever, or?
That's actually something that I believe we at the staff level are probably going to need to start to take over. And that's
Okay.
not anything, some of the things that staff does is administrative support. So we recently, and I'm meaning recently because in government land, that's within the last 6 months. So we have added a deputy city clerk to ours. So one of the things I was going to ask her to do, her name is Mallory Brown, is to go through, the wonderful thing is your past meetings are recorded, is to take some official meetings and to begin to adopt those in a more city style.
Yes.
I find it's incredibly difficult just personally for a board member to try to do that task and be present during the meeting. So I personally kind of like that to fall to a staff member, if that is okay with this committee. Correct. There are several boards and commissions that have what I would call a secretary as part of the board of officers, but in practice, city staff are the ones that are actually taking the minutes. And again, that's just from my use and understanding. I mean, I like the board members to be able to be present and to be active. It's very, very difficult for you to do so when you're trying to write stuff down. You're more scribing and less participating.
Yeah.
So if you guys are okay with that, I will kind of set that into motion for this body.
I'm okay with that. We could also just set up the process that the assistant city clerk handed off to the secretary for review, just as a final.
We could
review.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. Mallory could, whomever fills that role, Mallory could email them to that particular person, and they can definitely sign it off. Like I said, it's one of those items that a lot of, especially the legacy committees on any city, they didn't have administrative staff. There wasn't staff people, but as cities have kind of grown and our agencies have gotten a little bit more professional, we've added some support staff.
All right. I think that sounds really good. For item 12, we are going to talk about committee updates. The very first item on here is the NKC United, with the sub-item is the T-shirt, which we've talked about for quite a while, and it looks like we have some updates that we're going to pull up here.
And just for context for folks, this is, I don't know if it's official, but this was some of our previous budget we wanted to try and utilize for some marketing materials. How do we get the word out in the community? And the group decided on some swag to try and, get the council or committee, folks T-shirts, and then community partners T-shirts, and other swag items. So that's a little bit of the context. And then I think we'll talk about the NKC United campaign. I think I shared a little bit about, but this would all kind of roll together in addition, there would be a decal produced so that, let's say we have 40 businesses at the NKC Business Council that wants to be part of this pledge, they would get a decal they could put in their window. So it's kind of all kind of rolled together.
So with the designs pulled up, do we need to vote on any of these, or are these just options that the company that we're looking into has available?
So I'm going to do my very best job channeling my inner Lisa Tull. And Lisa, I'm apologizing now if you were watching from home. So Lisa did send me a couple of items for your guys' consideration. So option one, you guys saw before. They are a little bit more expensive, but if memory serves, this was kind of something that the committee liked. Lisa did find another vendor. It is a little bit more, it's a little bit more cost efficient. But as Lisa noted, no purple, which I think was something that the committee kind of enjoyed. So the thought process was this commission would put together some T-shirts, and then when you're at your public events, it would be an identifier for you. So the thought was the committee would have a shirt that looked different, and then there would be some shirts for giveaways. So if that makes sense. So one of the things is if you're at an event, maybe nobody knows who and what you are. So something for you guys to be able to wear to events to signify, hey, we are part of the committee. And then here is a T-shirt that, looks a little bit different. Maybe the colors are different. But try to kind of promote the NKC United tag that this committee has come up with. So this is for you guys' consideration. I think what she was kind of looking for is which T-shirts do you like, and then let's get them ordered.
I thought we had decided on orange, didn't we? Orange and gray. Daniel?
Well, I remember looking at these designs and just looking at the raglan as well as the T-shirt, but I don't remember colors, frankly. But I do remember some feedback about the purple being of interest just because of the city colors and the school, of course. But I think it's still up for debate if we want to talk a little more about it.
I have a clarifying question. So are you saying that one of the options, the more cost-effective option, would not allow us to have different shirts from committee to the handout ones? Both would offer that?
And remember, I am channeling a third person here, so sometimes we get disconnected. The thought, I believe, was what I'm on right now is kind of A and B. So the purple, I think, was the color that the committee wanted, and then the giveaway ones would be the gray. And then think of it in this way. There was the same gray, but there wasn't the purple. So it looks like a green. So maybe the committee might be green, and then the giveaway one was gray. Lisa's probably gnashing her teeth, going, "You're getting that all wrong." She hasn't called me yet. I'm kind of surprised. But I think that I know that this has been on y'all's agenda for quite some time. We are going to eventually be coming up on warmer weather and hopefully some events for you guys to be able to be part of. For me, just one that's coming up for you guys would be Snake Saturday. Happens to be our largest event in North Kansas City. So I think that she was just trying to kind of get some direction on, should we just pull it, let's rip and roar? So I think that these are kind of the two that she was able to find that had stock available. There are some supply chain issues, and that is kind of part of what's dragged this on a little bit. This wouldn't be considered a large order, so finding a vendor that would do a smaller set is also been kind of a bit of a complicating factor. So I think that she's just kind of looking for which one do you like, and then let's order them. I figure that could be something that through, I could email this group and you guys could let me know your shirt size.
If Lisa is looking for opinions, which I'm sure she is, I think the more cost-effective versions look so similar to the previous ones that I think it's fine. And personally, I enjoy more neutral colors anyway, so just if she wants that info. But otherwise, I'm indifferent. I'm happy with whatever shirt I get.
I'm just glad I saw a couple of options earlier, and I'm glad that was chosen, the NKC United, the one that's chosen that I'm looking at now. The other one was a little bit misleading, some of the ones that I saw. This is perfect. I like it a lot. You had several different logos, right? Different choices.
They did, and then they kind of landed on this one.
Only
Like
took us 3 months, I think,
Really?
to get to that.
I like this.
Good.
So I like the raglan for the committee members, and then you said there wasn't purple available for the solid T-shirts in the more cost-effective one. Is that right?
I am reading my email.
I just turned it off. On the committee member T-shirts, is there going to be something on the back that identifies us as committee members, or is it just the identical design for committee members and then for the handouts as well?
An impression on the back is new. That does not mean that it's, I mean, I like the idea. I don't have a memory thread of there being conversation about a verbal, a visual indicator of rank or distinction on the back. But I think that that's something that any savvy vendor would be more than happy to sell us.
I think that's why we landed on 2 different colors, so that it would just be identifiable easy, because I do think there's an upcharge for additional lettering on 2 sides. So I think that's why we opted for just different colors, for one for committee and one for community.
My unofficial official vote will also be the cost-effective one. I think you guys did an awesome job. All of them look great, and it is kind of exciting to see like the 4 months, but we got there. But definitely, I think the cost-effective one is the one I unofficially but officially will vote for.
That
All
would be my vote as well. I'm just a little bit for the handouts and like the distinction between committee members and the handouts. Is that understanding of the different colors limited to this space only? If we were out in the public, how are they to know like the distinction, I guess, would be my question.
Probably you're right,
Yeah.
that only us would know. Yeah.
Right. Okay, cool.
So it may not make a big deal. We all should just get gray. Or action.
No,
Okay.
this wasn't, I don't have an invoice in front of you. I don't have anything that would trigger an official action. I think that I've gotten at least enough direction. As for how would people know who and what we are, and I'm spitballing here, but I mean, if you guys wanted to come up with some kind of, other city boards and commissions do wear identifiers when they're out into public space. It has our names on them, and it has, a little bit about who and what they are. That could be something that we do have a city vendor. We already have a contract for that. That could be something that I could bring forward for you guys' consideration. I think that they're like $12 a piece. They're not too bad. They're magnetic. But that could be something if you guys were to answer your question of how would anybody know who and what we were. That could be an option. That way you're not spending that money on different colored shirts, but you are going to have a mechanism that has your name on it and maybe has, that you are part of this committee.
We actually do have name tags on order already. I just do need to get you guys' names, just to make sure that's how you want them spelled. We also have name plates for our seats, and those will be. It's on. Yeah. We can get to that when I guess in branding or whatever. But yes, they are in order.
So everyone, we're good on the shirts, and yeah, it's good to know we have the name tags. I think that'll be plenty to distinguish us regardless which direction we go. So yeah, that's awesome. Newsletter update next on the list, it looks like.
Just planting seeds here that I would need you guys' next article by the end of February. And that would be for the next cycle of the city's newsletter.
I'm just going to add that some of the folks that have rolled off, we probably, seems like February is going to be a 10-hour meeting. We probably need to sit down and think about our committees and maybe reevaluate our committees. I don't know that they're not in the bylaws, right? They're just kind of ad hoc committees. And just make sure that they fit our needs now and then repopulate them. Because I think, I think Jess was part of the newsletter committee, I'm not sure. So we just may need to reevaluate and get people there, but maybe we can identify a point person that can get you some content for February, unless I'm misremembering, which is plausible.
Yeah, I'd be happy to help with that. I helped Jess on the last two, and I know there's a template and the character count and just some of the more template related ideas. So for this next one though, I think we'll definitely want to include any updates we get from our meeting next week. And obviously just our plans for the strategic planning RFQ and getting some more information in there about that. So, but yeah, thanks for planting that seed. That's always good to remember. So end of February, you said? Okay. And the last item, Yvonne, I'm sorry that I brought this up earlier, but branding, finally. Sounds like we do have a little bit of an update with things we're going to be getting for that.
Yes, we did meet with ProPrint, and we ordered name badges, of course, for everybody. So we'll need the correct spellings of your names and some nameplates, like I said. We ordered a 3x5 banner for our table for our events. Whenever we go out, we'll have a banner for our table. We also ordered a feather flag. You can set it in the grass, and we ordered the accessories. So if we're somewhere where it's just concrete, it has like a sandbag, or I don't know what it exactly comes with, but we ordered 200 decals of our NKC United decals. They're little 4x4, and they're gonna cling so you can face them on the inside of the building, facing out. And 500 pens. We ordered those. And that's it.
I forgot, what did we decide on the background on the decals? Are they clear or are they
They're
white? Okay.
And they just have the NKC. I don't have she hasn't sent me proof, but yes.
Thank you, Yvonne. That's really exciting. We'll get some tchotchkes and some swag ready for our to spread the word. So thank you for doing that, and thanks for putting the effort in. Next item on the list, any community member comments? I may have already done that at the beginning. Did we move it to the end, and now it's just at the top and the bottom?
So yeah, the desire was that perhaps after you guys have some discussion, somebody in the audience might want to comment on what you guys' discussion was.
A bookend strategy. I like it. Well, does anyone have any comments based on what we've discussed today, or any of the meetings prior? I will say it's nice to have some community members here this evening, so at least give a shout out for the folks who came to the meeting. Really appreciate it. For those, sorry.
That's okay. I'd just like to make a couple comments. We have lots of openings in the city, actually 3, so that's a lot for us. Most people know Sarah Copeland has resigned, so we have community development director position posted. Tavasa, our neighborhood inspector, she's going to be moving to another city. Her position has been posted, and we've also posted 2 other support positions. We every summer we have an intern come in and help out in the city, so we've posted that position. And then we've also posted a 4-month temporary assignment for some administrative help up front. So I would love your help in getting the word out and getting us candidates to apply for those. So thank you.
Do you guys have like a LinkedIn post or anything that we can spread
We
around?
sure do. Yes, so it is, the city social media channels have pushed that out, the LinkedIn channel, as well as the city's Twitter and Facebook page.
Thank you. And finally, committee member comments. Does anyone have any comments or anything additional to share?
Sorry. I know I do, but do we want to kind of go in order? Because I'm sure everybody does, maybe.
I have been watching the work that you guys have been doing, and it has not been an easy task, and I think that you guys have accomplished a lot, and so I'm very excited and honored to be a part of this with you, and all the little details that some people might not know that go into it. You guys worked really hard, and so it's an honor to be able to come in and join you guys now.
I have just a tactical comment. So it's really related to the NKC United campaign. So I just kind of started to panic a little bit because I was like, oh, I don't know very much about it. I can put together a PowerPoint slide deck, but are there documents? Because I feel like there was a pledge and some originating documents. Is there?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
They're probably in your email at some point.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I can, no,
Okay.
I'll dig them up and send them to you.
Okay, how about I'll look, April, and if I can't find them, I will,
Yeah,
I'll
that's,
reach out.
I don't think we ever had any, like, there was nothing official or anything
Yeah.
like that, so it's buried in email somewhere, but yeah, I can,
Okay.
I'll dig them up and put them together
Okay.
and all that stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I just am excited to have a new infusion of energy onto our committee, so thank you guys for serving.
I was just going to say something that came into mind when we were talking about the positions that are opening and just kind of the evolution of those positions. In terms of like the person who's doing the minutes, the secretary for the group, I could see that position, if there's no longer as much of, I guess, a priority of taking minutes, like that becoming more of a project management or almost like, and if you're not in like software development or project management, Scrum Master is a word that is used a lot there, and that's kind of the person who owns the list, if you will, of the projects and like what everybody's doing. And I kind of had a pipe dream at the beginning of this of starting like a nice board that would be a little more visual for us to look at our projects, see who's assigned to what, and along with this agenda, I think it would be a helpful tool of just keeping our meetings organized and being able to quickly rehash things that we've been working on and what we've done. Now that we're getting a lot more concrete and making a lot more headway, I think that'll be really helpful. But I would be happy to do that. And obviously we have another meeting to kind of talk about the positions, but that's just an idea if anyone else.
Can we officially put Scrum Master into our bylaws?
Scrum Master, yeah.
I think that would be so cool.
I think the software community, the tech community would love to see that in a city document. So, yeah. All right, cool. Well, thanks for letting me share that.
Well, again, I just want to, say welcome to our new members also and to our new liaison. We're excited to have you all on board and hear some fresh ideas because I know sometimes we kind of get stuck on the same things and so yeah. Looking forward to that. And then I wanted to see if maybe if we could do like a work session to kind of give them a summary of like what the different subcommittees are and what the different positions are and all that kind of stuff. Right. Is that something we can do?
I was going to, after this meeting, print off the bylaws, the RFQ that we have out right now, I can print off some of the past agendas. I did, Gabby and I kind of did a 6:30, I think I sent it out, that we would do kind of a little bit of a ramp-up meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy to do a work session, but I think some of it is also, there's just a lot
Or
of.
just give them homework.
Yeah, there's a lot
Just-
of homework.
Yeah, okay.
And then with
I just didn't
February-
want to overwhelm them, show up for the February
Too late.
meeting and going, okay, here's what we're doing, you know.
Yes, yes. I think February is going to be a bit of a beefy meeting for you
Yeah.
guys. And I do anticipate there being some kind of an additional meeting request from that one. So I'd ask everybody to bring their calendars. But yes, I'm going to leave them with some homework.
Okay, yeah, I didn't want to overwhelm them, so. But yeah, it's great to have you all on board.
All right. Last thing, any announcements? Anything anyone wants to share from an announcement standpoint? Doesn't have to do anything with this committee, I suppose, but anything important?
Can I make a request for one? I have a question about how the Citizens Academy, like what the response was like to that.
You're breaking my heart here.
Oh.
So the Citizens Academy was supposed to begin on the 20th. Because of the COVID concerns and specifically staffing concerns. I mean, I don't think our agency is any different than any agency perhaps you guys are a part of. It's making its way through our organization. So putting a lot of our key staff members in a room with 15 to 20 other probably key staff members of other organizations right now just didn't seem like a really good idea. So we have postponed that till April. Believe me, you're talking to probably the most disappointed person in the city. I was going to bore everybody to absolute death with budgeting.
And that was just the beginning.
My Government 101 slide deck has 74 slides, and I cannot wait to share them. But we have made, and it is really something that we can't turn virtual, because half of the kind of fun part of it is the online tours. You know, actually, hey, have y'all seen a salt dome? Well, we're going to take you to a salt dome today, and we're going to have you climb through the street sweeper. And we're going to have you run through the, EMS to one of the ambulances. And that's not something you can do in a virtual setting. So we have made the decision to postpone it. I do believe our initial first class is full. We are waitlisting. We are hoping to get to where that's something that we do kind of in the winter and the fall. So unfortunately, you hit on a total bummer part for me, but that just means I get to add more slides.
All right. Well, thanks again, everyone who's attended, and for all the team members and new team members alike who have joined today. I think we will move to adjourn. Does anyone have to second that, or can I just say it?
I'll second.
All right.
We need a second, and you don't have to do a roll call
Okay.
for that one.
But-
Everybody could just say
All right. Meeting has
agreed.
But Martin has the gavel.
I was going to
so
say,
he
you got a
gets to-
gavel. It's not official till you hit the gavel.
Yeah.
All right. Meeting adjourned at 8:01 p.m.